All right, everyone, I appreciate your patience. It seems like just about everyone has joined that will be joining today, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, today's webinar is going to be on lot portering or moving units between lot locations through a porter task, and we'll cover that both in unit inventory as well as parts and service. To help me do this demo, for the functionality of this, I'm going to be using our mobile application as well, or our web app, which is, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to pull it to the screen now. It's a a mobile version of our software for the CRM. We do have some service tools as well as some parts tools as well. It's not full system functionality, but it's got quite a bit there, and it's definitely an interesting proposition for any of your mobile employees, such as your salespeople or any technicians that might want to clock in and out to their their jobs with this app. So if you have any more questions on this, definitely contact your sales rep. But to go ahead and get this started, we're going to generate the porter move from the software. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open up unit inventory right here. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to search up a unsold unit. To do so, I'm going to just come down here. Once the inventory module loads, I will hit the search button. I'm going to trigger the sold equals no value. That way we're only seeing active inventory pieces that exist, and I'll just go ahead and pick one at random here. And we'll go ahead and use this 2011 Mitsubishi Lancer. It's an auto car, but that'll work. The unit's current location is in this one here, and we can change that location by hitting the L button here. If you do not have lot locations set up previously, you'll want to do so in the Edit, Modify, Add Modify Unit Locations tab. As you can see, each one of your store locations can have a lot location assigned. If I wanted to add a new one, let's say to store number 3, let's say I wanted to call this Zone 3 space A, it will generate the unit location for me based off of what I key into the zone and the space. If I don't use either of those fields, and I just type into the unit location, you can do that as well. So it's up to you, but you have kind of the freedom and the flexibility to choose any of these. So I'll go ahead and leave the ones that are in there. That's fine. I'm not going to save my changes. But I'll go ahead and generate a porter task move for this unit. To do that, I'll hit the L button, and the system is going to give me some information. It's going to give me the stock number. It's going to give me the tag number if this unit exists on an RO. It's going to give the unit's information, the stock number, year, make, model. And then it's going to give the current lot location of that unit. So it's in the company 1. The location's name is Deacon. All right, now you have all the available selections here to update a unit. Now, if I wanted to skip the porter task process and I found that this unit is not in this space, but it's actually in Bay 1, you can highlight Bay 1, hit the update button, and the system will simply change the lot location for you. When I close out, you'll see that that made the change. Obviously, this is good to make corrections to lot locations that are incorrect in the system, but by no means is this generating a task or creating a porter task. It's simply changing it to what you specify. Now, if this unit is currently in Bay 1 and you want to call a porter to come pick it up, or to move that to a new location, you can hit the Call Porter button, and then you have the selections of where it currently is. That's that middle field here, and then the bottom field is where it's going. So if I want to actually take this unit from its current Bay 1, and I want to, tell a tech to bring the unit to another location, like let's say, I'll just say Zone 1 space 1, maybe that's one of our delivery lanes. I'll go ahead and hit the select. It'll set the new location here, location 1, Zone 1 dash space 1. And then I can hit either bring unit, if essentially I'm having a tech bring the unit to this location, or I can choose the pickup unit item, essentially flagging a tech to pick up the unit from its current location to move it. So really, they're both going to generate a porter task. It's up to you really which one you want to use. But generally, service advisors would be triggering the bring unit. They want to bring a unit to a certain bay, whereas the technicians will use a pickup unit, basically signaling that the work is done and they want a porter to come move that vehicle out of their bay. But in this scenario, we're going to trigger to take it out of the bay and move it to location 1. So we'll go ahead and hit bring unit. The task is being created for the porter. So it will remain in bay 1 until a porter actually completes the task of moving it to zone 1, space 1. Then it will update the porter task. So now, this is where you're going to want to see the porter task on the mobile app. So I'm going to bring the mobile app over here, or I should say the web app. I'm going to scroll down here. There's a section called Porter Tasks. This is where all porter tasks will reside. I will click on that. Any existing porter tags will be here already. But if I hit the Today box to filter to today's, the most recent task, you'll see here right at the very top, there's a move unit, the Mitsubishi Lancer. Here's its current location, and then the new location that we're moving it to. Now, a technician could click into the task and see some detail, who it was created by, the new lot location, the stock number. They can even scan the stock number's stock label if you have one printed out, put on the hitch of the trailer or something. That way they could verify that this is the correct unit. And then it has some more detail as to the start date, the end date, the due date. Generally, these are all pretty standardized by the porter program in that it just generates it to be done as soon as possible. So you can see the due time has already passed, and that's why when I go back to my list, it shows it as a red task down here at the bottom. If I hit the today, again, it populates to the top. It's in red because it's past due. Obviously I could say, if I've generated this tag move and I can say this needs to be done by 5 p.m., now it's not going to show up until we get closer to our due time. So you can manipulate the tasks as you see fit, and then when the porter completes the task, you simply hit the checkbox and it will complete it. As I refresh the screen, the task goes away. So same scenario, let's do it one more time. I'm going to hit the lot location button, verify its current location is in bay 1. I want to do the same thing I did before, call porter. I want to pick this space, select it, bring the unit to that space. We'll come back to the mobile app. We'll refresh our tasks. It's right here at the very top. As a porter, I will click that I've completed this task. I've moved the unit from the bay location to zone 1, space 1. Refresh it. My screen is complete. I have some older tasks that may or may not have been completed. We want to look into that. But at this point, I'll bring this unit back up, put in the stock number here so it refreshes. And now my unit is in the location 1 or space 1, zone 1. Pretty simple. Now the same process can be done in service. If I go into the service screen, I will go find an RO of a customer's unit, or maybe an internal unit. So we'll go over here to the invoicing. Going to find maybe some internal work here. Let's just find this waiting for parts one. Maybe the parts arrived and they got installed, and we want to go ahead and move this unit out of the bay and the work order can get cashed out. So same scenario, we'll find the stock number. It looks like there isn't one on here. Why don't we go ahead and find a stock number for this ticket? So I'll search all my inventory, uncheck sold. We'll use that same Mitsubishi Lancer that we've been using. We can check the vehicle info tab and see where it is. We can hit the lot. It's going to warn me I need a service tag first before I'm allowed to do that. So I will put in a service tag here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit the lot button. Same process. Oh, I'm doing it on the other repair line that's using the other stock number. But you get the idea. Same functionality as before. I want to move this unit, so I'm going to call the porter, select zone 1, space 2, hit select, and then we can say pick the unit up. Same exact screen as you saw before. It's just located here on the vehicle info tab by hitting the L button on the lot move. So here you can see our Mitsubishi Lancer. It is in the correct place that we moved it to before. And then one more time, maybe we want to move it. It looks like it's pulling the unit from the second tab. So, but either way, the process is pretty straightforward. If you have any questions on it, let me know. There's some reporting tied to portering, so you can kind of determine the last moves of a unit, and that's also the history tab. So if I actually go back into inventory and we hit the lot location, let me minimize report screen for a second. If you hit the history on a unit, you can see what space it was in and the employee that triggered the change. So I can follow this unit along to see each bay that it hit, maybe to ensure that the vehicles are following the due process we've set for, a vehicle from maybe start to finish in terms of the delivery process. Make sure it hit the wash pad, make sure, et cetera. So it's a good history tool to research. Now, if you do want any reporting tied to this, I believe there is at least one vehicle report. There's two. There's the vehicle location report that should give vehicles in their current lot location. And there's a historical one that tracks some of that history we just showed as well. And then we have a last lot location report as well that kind of tracks when it left and, basically at what time that was last sitting in that lot location. So you can kind of determine, where a unit is or where it last was based on these reports to try to determine, is the portering team actually doing the porter tasks, or are they just letting them, pile up and not changing anything? Because again, one of the issues we can find is if these tasks didn't happen, but physically the unit did get moved to this spot, well, if a few days have gone by, this was already a month ago, this unit may not even be requested to go to this new spot, Bay 1. Maybe it was already in Bay 1 and now it's left. If I complete this task, this Forest River Sunsinker is going to be put back into Bay 1. So it is very important that the porters that are using this application complete all the tasks on time with when they move the units. Otherwise, they're going to be overwriting future data that is probably going to make it incorrect. Same thing, this Epica was requested to move to Bay -1 back on the 12th. It probably got moved there, physically and then left. But if the porter never completed the task, if I complete it now, it's going to put the porter task, it's going to put the lot location as Bay -1, which may not be correct a month later. This unit could have left the lot already. So it is very important to keep up to date with the tasks. You can delete tasks if need be. If you go into the CRM, this is where our task manager is stored. There's also a task shortcut right here, which I'm just going to jump to it right from there. In our task command center, if you look for an assigned to of porter, every porter task is always assigned to the group called porter. This which populates that porter task screen. So maybe this unit, because this porter task was not completed or needs to be removed, instead of completing the task and scheduling the lot change, you can come all the way over here to the right side of the task, hit the delete button, and take back essentially what has been done. This one says you do not have permissions to delete tasks that have already been saved, only tasks that you've created. So my particular permissions do not allow me to delete tasks. Some users can have access to delete all tasks. So whoever would be cleaning up this porter list needs to be able to delete other individuals' tasks to potentially clean that up. So again, this really goes hand in hand with our mobile or our web application, allowing these technicians or porter techs to, move these units back and forth between lot locations without too much hassle, and they don't have to use the desktop version of Infinity. They wouldn't need to use this task command screen because you could complete this task just like they do by hitting that complete box, and that would complete the task the same way. So you could have a user running porter tasks through the task command screen, but it's much easier and more mobile friendly for them to use this porter task screen. Now the lot location moves are restricted per location. So if I'm only able to see store 3, I will only see store 3's lot locations here versus if I was in store 1. So it is, by profit center. You can filter for specific profit centers if need be, or specific employees. Maybe you're responsible for only one employee's tasks in here. Maybe there's other porters designated for other service advisors. So you can freely do that, and you can actually add a task all the way through the screen from scratch. You're going to have to pick the new location yourself, the stock number, the due date, all of that, but you can handwrite these tasks if you wanted to. but we would prefer you use the porter task screen because it's all done for you. As long as the lot porter move was generated from unit inventory or parts and service, it will populate on this screen, and it's just a one button click essentially for them to flag moving that unit. Unless there's any other questions on lot location moves or lot portering, that's pretty much the full functionality. The majority of these moves would generally be initiated from the unit inventory module, but as I showed earlier, you can do the same thing from parts and service if need be. So it's just going to require that service tag number, otherwise it won't let you generate a lot location. And the reason for this is because the unit doesn't have an internal stock number, we need some sort of reference number for it to attach the task to, and that's going to be the service tag number here. I'll leave the next few minutes here for kind of an open discussion for any questions you may have on the process, or if there's anything else you'd like to see again. But that is lot locations in full for the most part. With the reporting that that I showed you briefly. Like I said, poll each report, see if it helps out, but really it's just some of the historical data which we saw by hitting the lot location button and then hitting the history button. We can do the same. So same process. But again, thank you all for attending. Like I said, I'll probably leave the next 5-10 minutes here open for questions. If I see anything in the chat panel, I'll try to answer it to the best of my abilities. Otherwise, again, thank you for your time attending. I hope this was informational, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. All right, well, I don't see any other questions coming through. Again, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks again.